Hey, what's up guys? Justin with AmericanTrucks.com, and welcome to another installment of our Customer Build series. A series of videos where we chat with different customers from all over the country about their trucks and all of their modifications. Talk about what they like, maybe what they don't like, what they plan on adding in the future, and hey, maybe give you guys some ideas for your trucks at home. Today we're talking to a gentleman from the West Coast, from the Seattle area, David Sweeney, about his 2019 Velocity Blue EcoBoost truck. Very clean, the front end really grabbed my attention on our site, as you guys can see. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to him today about his truck. So if you guys want a complete breakdown of David's modifications, go ahead and check out his build page back on the site. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and click on that link below. Let's say hi to Dave. All right, good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
So, listen, Dave, thanks again for joining me today, brother. Appreciate it. And let's talk about your 2019 Velocity Blue. Is that a 2.7 or a 3.5 Eco?
That's the 2.7.
2.7. That's a peppy motor, isn't it?
I loved it, and that's really the motor that I was looking for when I bought the truck. I know you talk a lot about V8s and sound. I totally hear you on that, but I wanted gas mileage, and it's fast. I think it's plenty fast.
Listen, I think the EcoBoost engine is a formidable opponent here. It does it all. It's quick, the tow's great, it's solid on gas. I mean, for a truck, yeah, the only thing it lacks in is sound, which with your truck, instead of changing out the entire exhaust, you just did the tip, correct?
Yeah, I put the tip on. I just didn't like how it looked stock. I look on American Trucks for the exhaust upgrades, and I listen and I think about, but I haven't done it yet.
Oh, that's okay. You know, let's talk about the front of the truck. I always like to start up front because, especially in your case, I feel like it's definitely not a stock F-150, and you've done some recent modifications. Let's start with the front end. Let's start with the grille. Let's start with the bumper, the hood decals, because it totally transformed the truck.
It really does. It makes it look so much different than a stock truck, and that's really what I wanted. I was driving around in that stock F-150, and I thought, well, this is really nice, but I look like every other F-150. Starting off on that front end is really just taking out the headlights and the grille and putting that all together, and then I added the bumper later.
You just went right to the best headlights, at least in my opinion. The Morimoto XBs are some of the nicest ones out there. How do you like those?
Oh, those are outstanding. They're expensive, but they're well worth it. I am really happy with the light because it was so dim on the F-150, and we live on a very windy road, and I was noticing that the stock lights just weren't lighting up the road the way I wanted, even with the stock fog lights on. So that was one of the best upgrades I think I made, and they just look killer. I love the sequential turn signals as you put them on. The brightness is just awesome. I do worry about blinding other people because it's a 4-inch lift, so coming up behind people. So I'm still dialing it down to make sure I'm not, blinding people from behind.
Yeah, that's good you point that out, because a lot of times people just throw in new headlights and just go. But no, those are great headlights. And I always like the little startup feature or whatever that has when you lock or unlock the truck.
Oh yeah, it puts on a little light display for you.
Now with the hood, you did both the Sec 10, the hood accent decal there in the center and also on the side. How was your experience with that?
Oh my gosh, I love the look. But if I had to do it over again, get a buddy to help you, because I almost ruined it, especially the big one in the middle. But I think I recovered it and got it on straight and got it the way I want it. So, but next time, definitely get a buddy to help.
We always make it look easy in the videos, but you're right. It's one of those things, especially if you're doing it outside and it's a little windy, then God help you. It looks like you did like the off-road style front bumper there with the lights. You mentioned the back road. Those lights really, I bet, light up the night when you do use them, right?
Oh, absolutely. You've talked about the challenge sometimes of putting lights on the front. It's nice to have that opening in that bumper so you can put in I want to say that's a 28-inch light bar on the bottom.
Yeah, I think it's a 20 or 28 up front, and then you got the two 3-inch cubes on the side, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's nice that it has all that space for it.
I mean, those with the Morimoto headlights, I would imagine you're probably blinding all the deer out there in Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's definitely not for on-road use. Only in the darkest of environments of no one else coming, but it's great off-road. You can really see the roads and trails where you're going.
You know what, and it's such a silly thing to point out, but I love it. It's always the first thing I do on my truck is I get rid of the goofy antenna, like the huge one, and I put on the little stubby like you have. It makes such a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. Just the look. And, I can't go in parking garages anymore with the 4-inch lift, but at least when it was standard, that antenna poked up above the hood and it would rub on stuff. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to run the top of the truck into some type of, underground thing? But I just like that small antenna that just looks unobtrusive, and it's better than that thing waving around in the wind.
I agree. Now, how's your reception been? Have you lost a lot of reception with that or not really?
No, I have not found any reception issues whatsoever. I have found no problems at all. I suppose if you lived in a bad reception area, you might want to test it out with and without to see if it's an upgrade that you like. For me, it worked out just fine, and I get great reception.
I'm glad to hear that. Plus, it looks a hell of a lot better, too. You mentioned the rough country lift. Okay, and that sets the table for those beautiful fuel contra wheels, 20 inches, wrapped in the Falken Wildpeak tires. You said -18, I believe?
-18. So that gave me, I think, about a 2.5-inch poke, maybe, something like that, outside the truck.
And you said you did have to make some modifications, correct?
Yeah, I did. There's a bar on the front of the F-150. I could not get that thing off, so I had to take it to an automotive shop that deals in metal. I just couldn't abide the look with those bars sticking out. It just wasn't going to happen.
Well, and that's a great point too, with your bumper being what it is, the off-road, the HD off-road, the way it kind of kicks up, those things, the crash bars are now visible once, you know, that bumper's on, correct?
Oh yeah, they were sticking out, and I didn't know how it would look when I put the bumper on, so that was something I had to go and get done.
But hey, it looks great. And then what do you think about those Wildpeak tires? You like how those ride?
It's really interesting. I have them bead balanced.
They fill with little beads, like little BBs, right?
Exactly. So they go to the balance points of the wheels and the tires where they're needed for the first 0.8 of a mile. And you'll really hear a loud noise from those tires, but I think it's the beads settling. And then once you're rolling, then all of a sudden it gets really quiet. And I'm really pleased with how quiet those tires are, with still a pretty aggressive look. They're not the greatest in rain for Seattle, I've found. If you put the pedal down with that 2.7, it'll spin the tires really easily. So I wish they had a little bit better traction, but I can modify that. Either going 4-wheel drive or just know if I'm going up a hill or something like that, you just can't really mash the pedal or you're going to lose traction.
Yeah, it's what happens. You got no weight in the back. You got a torquey motor like the 2.7. It's just bound to happen, you know. But like you said, if it really gets to that point, you can just throw it in 4, you know, auto, 4 high, whatever.
Or there's the transmission setting. You can put it in, you know, rain and snow setting. It really dials down the acceleration though, on purpose, obviously. So I generally avoid that. I like normal driving or the sport mode. Sport mode, it just kicks. It's great.
It's a rocket, right? It's crazy how much it shifts everything. Well, talking about those aggressive fitments, the -18 of the fuel wheels, you covered them up with the rough country flares. I believe that's what you went with. How's your experience been with those?
Great. I like them. You know, I get a lot of comments, is that a Raptor? I don't know how many times I've heard that question, and I think it's probably due to the Ford logo on the front, but anyone that owns a Raptor knows that they already have the built-in wheel flare. So anyone that knows the truck knows, okay, that's not a Raptor. It's just, you know, a rough country flare that helps protect the truck and really keeps it a lot cleaner than when I just had the wheels poking out, the wheels and tires poking out originally. I drove around probably, 2,000 miles without them, and it really made a difference putting those on.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, let's move to the back because, again, you got some stuff going on. We talked a little bit about the MBRP tip already, but you got the Back Industries, the MX4, the BAKFlip, which is just probably one of my favorite trifolds on the site. How do you like that thing?
I had several choices, as you know. I could go with a soft cover, go with the BAKFlip, and I just like the look. You know, when I'm driving behind a truck with a soft cover and I see that thing flapping around, I think I don't want that look. And so I went with the hard cover. I like that you can throw something up on top of it and not worry about it. And it's super easy to use. You do lose a little bit of storage if you have to fold it all the way up to your rear window, but they're pretty good. They include the foam protection, and you apply that and make sure it's not banging on your back window. Yeah, there are times when I'm hauling around a bunch of stuff in back and you trifold that thing out of the way, and it only takes 15 seconds, and then it's out of the way. You lose some rear view out of your back window, but that's what your side mirrors are for.
There you go. Well, and then you also tie that together with Barricade's tailgate assist. It's kind of like that stubby antenna. It's such a little thing that maybe most people won't even notice, but using it day to day, it's just a nice thing.
It's an STX model. If you just drop it, man, it's you know, kaboom. And putting that on is just great. You just pull that handle and down it comes. So I know some of the more expensive models of the F-150s, they have like a power tailgate. You can just hit a button and that thing will lower down. So I don't have that, obviously. But if I can just hit that back handle and let that thing lower down, especially if you have something big that you're going to load on the back of your truck or something, it's nice not to have to lower it down by hand. I like that.
I agree, and it's such a simple, like 2-bolt install. It probably takes you, no more than a few minutes, and yeah, it's one of those little convenience mods that I just think goes a long way.
Well, I read a lot of readers' comments, and I figured out how to get the ring on there and the little retaining pin, and that's really helpful on American Trucks when you have people have written in about their install experiences, and I learned ahead of time, make sure you do this and this and get this thing situated right, then put the retaining pin in, and you won't have a problem with it. If you try to do the other way, it's not going to fit, or you're going to break the thing.
Let's move inside the truck, because it looked like you had the WeatherTech floor liners going on, you had the Duha storage box underneath, and also the locker up safe in the center console. You got no stone unturned there. I mean, you really utilize the truck for its purposes, and talk about some of the stuff you got going on inside.
Oh, it's definitely great to have some level of floor protection, especially when I'm putting a boat in the water and you get into the vehicle dripping water out of your shoes. And those things really soak up a lot of water and keep it where it needs to be before I can then dump those mats out. They really hold a lot of water, I'm surprised. As for the center locker, I'm a police officer, so I definitely need a place to keep a gun. And the underseat storage is great. I was surprised how much room there is in the back seat, with that Super Crew. Without that storage, you could really fit a lot in that back seat, but I decided having an area for my tools and my toe straps and everything else that I put under there.
Well, Dave, I think again we talked about a lot of the stuff going on. You've done a lot of cool mods. Is there any future modifications? You and I kind of loosely talked about the exhaust, but anything you really have your eye on that you plan on adding to the truck?
So yeah, I'm looking to add the carbon fiber. I have those purchased, and I'm just waiting to apply those probably when the weather gets nicer, and that'll really dress up the interior more. I consider whether I really want to upgrade the exhaust or not. I've done a little bit of work under the hood. I have a 5-star tune. I have a BDX tuner box. I put on a custom air filter, and I put the oil catch reservoir under there. So I didn't show you a picture under the hood, but those are some of the things I've done under the hood. And I think if I want more performance, obviously adding, either a sport performance or something that gives better sound. I think it's wife-friendly and neighbor-friendly when I keep just the stock 2.7 and the stock exhaust. But it's something to consider. If there's one thing that's lacking, and I get envious, is when I hear, a loud truck going by, and I go, okay, I could probably match you in speed, buddy, but you're going to sound a lot better doing it.
But you know what? There's something to be said for kind of flying under the radar, you know what I mean? But I agree. I mean, listen, there's a ton of great systems out there, and you and I have talked about, one thing here at American Trucks, we try to install them, try to let you guys hear them so you can make an educated decision.
Other than that, I can't think of any more changes I would probably make to it. It looks unlike any other truck. I get so many compliments on it.
Dave, one question here before we sign off. I ask it to every customer that we talk to, and it's kind of a silly one. So do you have a name for the truck?
No, we just call it the truck. Go get the truck. Hey, I'll drive you up in the truck. Yeah, I'll pull the boat out with the truck. So it's just the truck.
It's just the truck. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, it's a beautiful the truck. You really did a good job with it. And listen, man, keep doing your thing. Stay safe. Thanks for protecting and serving your community there. That's awesome. And yeah, man, absolutely. And yeah, keep having fun.
All right. Thanks, Justin.
All right, thanks, Dave. Well, there you go, guys. That was Dave and the truck. Now, I'm a big fan of what Dave's done to his 2019, and what you guys don't know, Dave and I briefly talked off the record, was that he's had a lot of trucks in his lifetime. This is the first one he's actually modified, and to me, it's really cool to see just how much he enjoys it and how he's been bitten by the mod bug. And you guys all know the feeling, right? You get into a new project, you can't wait to start doing different things, and the payoff is seeing people enjoy the truck, giving you the thumbs up at a red light, or in Dave's case, talking about the guys in the parking garage kind of admiring his 2019. So it kind of makes it all worth it at the end of the day, and it does. It puts a smile on your face. So nice job, Dave. Again, this is why we do it. We have a lot of fun doing these things, and we enjoy bringing them to you. We hope you enjoy these videos, giving you some ideas for your F-150 at home. And again, if you want to see more of Dave's F-150, check out his build page, again, back at AmericanTrucks.com, or just click on that link below in the description on YouTube. That's going to wrap us up for today, guys. Thanks for watching. And remember, for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.